everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming, actually, a very long time coming. And to be quite frank with you, there's no time like the present. So here I am. I've been saying that I'm going to be doing this forever and a day. So I was sat here watching UK Trauma and I thought, fuck it, let's get on board. Let's give this a go. I have to start somewhere and I have to start now. So much has happened in the last, let's say, 2 years. I've left a 30-year abusive relationship. That's been the biggest thing of all that's happened so far. And when I say 30 years, I went back with this man 4 times because I believed I was the problem. But that's what coercive control is all about, is controlling someone and accepting that you're not part of the blame. He is definitely a narcissist and I don't believe that will ever change. So God forbid the next woman he meets. That's all I want to say on that level. I have over the past 5 years become quite sick. On my birthday, approximately 2022, I had a heart attack and had 2 stents put in place, my heart. I had 2 complete blockages, so I had stents put in place to those arteries in the heart. I had an emergency, hysterectomy. I still have my ovaries and fallopian tubes though, so I'm still able to feel okay hormone-wise. Although I was pretty preemie. I did go through menopause quite early in life. So I had my heart attack. I had my emergency hysterectomy. And, that's right, the big one. So, you all know that I'm in a wheelchair. Can't see it too well, but that's my manual wheelchair. Tomorrow, I see my neurologist, who I was very, very fortunate. Took on one more patient who has FND, functional neurological disorder. Since I was diagnosed in 2022 in the public system, I haven't been able to get no discharge paperwork to even state that that's what they have told me that I've got and what would be their recommended treatment. I did know though that I needed rehab, and instead of staying in the public system and feeling like I was there when I didn't deserve to be there because it was a fake condition, I decided to do a lot of the hard work myself. So before I left that hospital, 3 to 4 weeks later, I was in a bed. I was confined to my bed, and that was because I had no idea what I had and they wanted to keep me safe. So I totally get that. But it was Christmas, it was New Year's, I didn't have full access to physiotherapy or any allied health. The allied health that I did have I don't remember her name, oddly enough, but terrible physiotherapist. She came into my room, sat down, looked me in the eyes and said, "Bettina, why do you think you're like this?" And that made me question, what the fuck was I in there for? Okay, I can't walk. Why? But I felt like I was a fake. I don't know who would want to fake a condition for 3 weeks, let alone 3 years. I didn't realise just how long I've had it until I sat down this very moment and calculated when I was diagnosed. I struggled. There was one physiotherapist that came into my room that gave me a few exercises to do over the Christmas break. I went from being confined to a bed to then being confined to a chair to then being able to walk again from my hospital bed to the hospital bedroom doorway. Boy, was I impressed with myself. I did have a goal that I wanted to walk out of that hospital, but because of lacked resources or resources that the hospital didn't have access to, I decided to discharge myself. On the premise, and I spoke to my neurologist at the time, who was supportive of me. I said, okay, if I have physiotherapy, if I can get access to rehabilitation, physiotherapy, because wait until you hear what the fuck this means to me. But so I did, and I left the hospital, and as soon as I got home I organised a physiotherapist, therapist for my mind. And while I am on that subject about the mind, so functional neurological disorder is when your brain fails to, in my case, tell my lower limbs how to walk. I'm 52. My brain's had 52 years, and I would automatically get up and walk. I can go to bed fully able to walk, and the next morning wake up and have no lower limb function whatsoever. It doesn't stop me from getting around. It doesn't confine me to my room. It doesn't confine me to my bed. I don't allow it to, hence the wheelchair. But because I can't get a formal diagnosis, I can't officially get any formal help for it. Hence the private neurologist. I never got a follow-up outpatients appointment from the Gold Coast University Hospital. I'm not afraid to tell you guys out there what hospital I went to, but just because I had this experience doesn't mean that you're going to have this experience. So recently I underwent a brain scan and a scan of the neck to the sort of tailbone area, which is going to help, I hope, the neurologist ascertain whether it's my back causing my lower limb weakness or my lower limbs to not function, or is it really the FND? Neurologist Lily and and Dr. Koshi, fabulous doctors. If you have them, you're being really well looked after. They explain the condition really well. They treated me as if I was a normal patient that has come in and needs help. I had stroke doctors telling me that it wasn't a good thing that I couldn't walk, and oh dear me. Wow, okay. That's what someone doesn't want to hear. And I've been angry and I've been sad at how I was treated by professionals who trained for years and years and years to be able to diagnose really rare conditions as well. But unfortunately, some of those doctors aren't worth even walking through my door. And if I was to go back and relive that scenario, I would have spoke up more. But half my problem too is that the FND, or if it's not FND, what is it? Is causing me to have cognitive issues. Sometimes I have problems swallowing, eating. So it's not just the lower limb issue. I have urinary and bowel incontinence, so I could at any given time poop my pants. And I have a suprapubic catheter. So I have a tube that goes from underneath my belly button into my bladder, because my brain can't tell my bladder when I need to pee. But in the early days when I had the suprapubic catheter put in, there was no idea this was FND. Urology and neurosurgeons went to and fro. It's not us. It's not her back. It's not gynae. It's not urology that's causing the problem. And urology were the only people wanting to help me. And the fabulous, fabulous girls at that clinic at Varsity Lakes, a big, big thumbs up to you guys. I wouldn't be here mentally and probably even physically today without you girls. So yeah, I've got to hand it to you. Dr. Laura at the clinic. Yep, didn't really want to believe at first that I had issues down below. However, she wasn't afraid to actually do a pelvic exam and really do a pelvic exam. And then she realised that, I think we've got a problem here. So when I had the surgery, I also had a prolapsed vagina wall, front and back. So she took the uterus out, which was apparently 3 times its normal size. So that would have been causing me pain. And obviously the prolapse. Now there's always a possibility in science that something could cause you pain when it shouldn't cause you pain. I say that because I had pain in my pelvic area, my vaginal area internally, and my bladder area internally. So once the surgery was done, they no longer use mesh in Australia to strengthen the walls of your internal organs to stitch things back up, because in America and in Australia, I'm surmising, there have been women in their childbearing years that have had mesh put in, that have got infections or other complications, who can no longer have children. So there is law cases where there's more than one person on board with the solicitor. It's like 100 people or whatever, more than that. I don't know. It's called something sort of litigation, but that's what's going on here. So they no longer use mesh. So in my particular case, they used a ligament that ran up my leg through my groin to reattach the front and the rear walls of my vagina. And unfortunately, I was given a 50-50 sort of percentage and told that, I'll either be pain-free 2 weeks after the surgery and onward, or for the next 2 weeks I will have pain and that will never go away. But let's face it, I couldn't have a vagina falling out of my cavity for numerous reasons. But I don't really want to go into that today. So I guess what I'm getting at is I've had a lot of medical and not so medical stuff happening over the past, say, 5 to 10 years. It was good because as a nurse I could give myself a bit of a heads up what to expect, but that always didn't come into play. So recently I told you that I'm seeing a neurologist. Tomorrow I'm having a nerve conduction studies done on my legs, and I'm hoping to also get the results of my MRI that I had on Monday. If not tomorrow, obviously it'll be another day. I am really hoping that he can either confirm the diagnosis of FND or tell me what else it could be. Is it my back? Because honestly, I'm really sick and tired of being like this at 52 and a single woman again. I should be able to get out there and start enjoying my life. Because of domestic violence, so my health dwindled, and my eldest child, her husband, and my grandson, who wasn't even thought of at that stage, moved down from probably around they lived about 70k away, moved down because I'd had the heart attack, I'd had the hysterectomy, my health was taking a dive, I've now got FND. So they relocated themselves down to the Gold Coast, and I am so lucky to have support from both my kids, because what happened is I blocked my husband then from receiving text messages, because usually all of his messages ended up being in abuse. They were abuse. So I blocked him. He even went to the extreme one day of showing a policeman, look, I sent her the date she had to be out of that house by. Try and keep up. I am going to be a bit scattered because of my cognitive abilities at the moment. So according to him, I was meant to be out by a certain time. He knew that I'd blocked his number. I'd always told him. However, he showed the text to the copper. The copper comes in and says, yeah, your husband showed me the text message. He wasn't a very good investigator. I mean, me as a civilian, when you block someone, you don't receive their messages. And usually that also means that you can't send them messages. I explained that. I can't get his messages. I blocked him. And then I showed that officer some messages that I'd received in the past, and they were quite recent, and they were quite abusive. So I don't know what he did with that information, but do as you please. I don't really give a shit. the point was, he organised for there to be no electricity after this certain date. So if I slept there that night, the power was going to be turned off. And I would have stayed there for 2 weeks, living with no power. Disabled. Literally disabled. And he knew I had this condition, because a week and a half or maybe 2 weeks prior to this happening, he got down on his knees, he went to kiss me, and I turned away, and he said to me, why can't I, being him, take care of you? So sorry, guys, but the cycle of domestic violence is a cycle for a reason. It goes round and around and around, and it did for 30 years for me. So finally I'd accepted that it was over, and I took the power back, and we sold the house. He tried to sell it under me, because that's another story for another day, but basically didn't lodge the paperwork that would enable me to also be on the deeds of the property, so that if eventually we did end up selling, we needed both parties to agree to it. I had to actually organise a caveat. Look it up. It's a good thing to have. So it basically says that you've got financial interest in the property, so any decisions need to be made together. And that happened. So we never ended up selling it under me. I did take the power back, and he was willing to sell it for $600, but we got $730 for it, because I knew that I wasn't going to be with this person anymore. So I needed to start a new life. So going back to the cutting off of the power, I rang and spoke to my daughter, who lived locally at that stage. She said, Mum, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I don't know. And unfortunately, at that given time, it had happened so quickly, I had no preparation. And little did I know that anyway. So what happened is, my daughter said to my son and I, come and stay with us while you get a new place. So we did. We got a storage shed. What do you call it when you disturb someone else's life? You turn their life upside down. I tried to actually find a rental, and I couldn't. I had no income. I wasn't even on, no, I was on the disability support pension at this stage, but I didn't have enough savings to warrant, and I didn't have enough income to pay for the rental market today. We bought our property for $400. We sold the property for $730, and that was in a 6-year period. So here in Australia, we are experiencing a housing crisis, just like a lot of countries are in this world, because of the climate, the economical climate. It is absolutely disgusting. So moved in with my daughter, my son and I. I'm having a lot more luck now of getting a house. I've just had some really good, fantastic news today, which means I can go full ball now to find a house. I'm happy. I'm going to live with my beautiful little doggy in just a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, unit, whatever you want to call it. And my beautiful daughter, son-in-law, and grandson will remain in this beautiful house, and their world will no longer be upside down. It'll be structured. It will be organised. It'll be fantastic for everyone. My 18-year-old recently moved out, and look, I haven't been a good person over the years, and I'm not going to be the first to. I'm not living in denial. I know I wasn't a good mother, and honestly, it actually drives me to tears because the thought of still thinking that I am a bad mother, it pulls at the heartstrings. It really does. It really does. But my son, who recently moved out, has had to face a few hard truths. I'm not willing to say too much on here because I do know of other people that I don't want to know this information. But just know that I love both my children and I'll do anything for them. And it's hard right now because I do feel like someone said to me today that they've always felt like people have been walking over her, and it's the truth. It is the truth. I can't deny it. I've done some terrible things to my children, especially to my daughter. And she's been through some pretty hard shit in her life already. And she had done. Her father tried to strangle her. And she was... she was over 18 because she was working, but... And this is what kills me. And it's probably going to sicken you guys out there, but... I stayed with this man. I stayed with this man who tried to kill our daughter. He put his hands around her throat and he left marks. So that's how hard. And our son watched this happen. I've sort of been, with psychiatrists and therapists for most of my early teens and continued now. So I do have a lot of issues, skeletons that are in the cupboard, sorry. And I've heard a few home truths recently. And they hurt because they come from my own children. I know that I've made so many mistakes in my years, but it's really hard to hear certain things. But I won't deny them because I know, yeah. And oh my God, I tell you, it's fucking hard. It's really fucking hard right now. It's I just want to be able to move out. And there's going to be plenty of time to think about things then. And I want to have a relationship with my son and my daughter. And thankfully over the years they've learnt, unfortunately with experience firsthand, that I've given my kids love. I know they don't feel like I've been a manipulator. I know that over the years I've said to myself, you know what, you will dig your own grave, mate. And he has. And as a result, it's no contact. Definitely no contact for me. I don't ever want to even look at the man again. But no contact by his kids. And you know what? I don't know that I could ever really survive or carry on life if my kids actually had no contact with me. I think that would be the thing that would drive me bonkers. But I wanted to come on tonight just to give everyone a bit of a brief update, because I have to start sooner or later. 30 minutes later, I'm still here, but and I don't know how I'm even going to edit it, because I'm new to YouTube. So these videos are probably going to be really crappy. You're probably going to want to fast forward, but you know what? I live in the real world. And like Tasmania, Google it, emotions can be exactly like the weather. You can feel 4 seasons in one day. And in this last week, I've been happy, I've been sad, I've been angry. I've been a lot of things, actually. And don't get me wrong, ironically enough, I feel alive actually being able to feel those emotions. But boy, oh boy, do they tug at your, I don't know, it's meant to be tug at your purse strings, but tug at your emotions. So, and, you know, I feel like I've done the best I can, but I don't feel like I can't do any more. In particular, my son. He has developed a lot of traits like his father. And a lot of them would have been, we've separated but lived under the same roof. And I allowed or enabled that man to bring up his son. But really, he has moulded him into himself. He's groomed his own son to become a narcissist. I mean, I don't really want to say too much about my ex-husband, but I don't think he'll ever even learn from this. Yeah, but I know one damn one thing is that I have looked into, I have dug deep inside my own head, heart, whatever, however the saying goes, over the years, to realise that, do you know what? I'm ready to move on, and I'm ready to love someone else. I'm ready to comfort someone else, love someone else, talk to someone else, engage with just life with that someone else. I have only ever been with the one man. I have had other men in my lives, but I've not been one to, I think the word I'm looking for is, I was quite frigid in my younger years. I wasn't interested in, I was molested as a child, and oh my God, there's so much I have to delve into with you guys, and at the moment it's got no real direction, but and I think that had a lot to do with my inability to feel safe with men and enter into a sexual relationship. So, and you know what? So be it. They didn't want to hang around and wait for that to happen. So, and that was fine with me. I was 18 when I first met Alex, I think. At a friend's barbecue, but that's a long story. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it here now. I did want to make a start, and I know it gets easier after every video that you do, because that's how I got into it again the initial time. But do want to show you, I have got two beautiful tattoos. Hang on, off shot there. Can you see that? They are birth flowers. This predominantly will be for my daughter's children, daughter and son-in-laws. And this one here I've started for my son's children. And that's his birth flower. So each grandchild, I'm sorry, that I have, I'm going to have tattooed their Australian native flower, their first name. I don't like the idea of adding birth dates. I would love to, but ideally I'd rather take the room up with the flower and their name. So yes, I've got one arm for my son, one arm for my daughter. I don't know who's going to fill it up first. I don't even know whether both arms will be full. However, regardless, I'm proud of my tattoos. I was not tagged at all, and I've always wanted a tattoo. And now that I've got two, I want so many more. So I've found myself a great tattooist. I'm sure that Mana will not mind if I tell everyone his details. However, I need Mana to finish my tats first before I go spruiking about how good he is, because honestly, he does a fantastic job, and he used to work locally, but because he lives elsewhere, I now have to travel an hour and a half, and I only have 6 hours to give Mana to actually do the tattoos plus sort of travel time. So it's going to take months to get them finished, especially my son's arm. But yeah, after this one, I do have plans for other tattoos. And I'm going mad. I'm going wild, mate. I'm going to show the world and my family exactly how I wished I was when I was younger. I just didn't have the courage to. So that's me today. That's almost 40 minutes of me chat. I won't be editing this video. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to put it up. If you can hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below, I would be super duper grateful. Spread my channel around. I am planning on developing the channel for domestic violence as a pain warrior, because I suffer pain. I have most of my life. And for the FND education. And I've only just got on board the FND education, so I've got a long way to go. So please like, comment, subscribe, and if you want, even hit that fucking bell. But if not, so be it. I do love you guys, and I do appreciate you guys out there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on my camera right now. So take care, and I will see you all again very soon. And as I used to say, I believe,